Genesis chapter 47. Now Joseph went and told Pharaoh and said, My father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all they possess have come from the land of Canaan, and indeed they are in the land of Goshen. So he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph's brothers, What is your occupation? So they said to Pharaoh, Your servants are shepherds, both we and our fathers. They also said to Pharaoh, We have come to dwell in the land because your servants have no pasture for their cattle, for the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. Now therefore let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen. Then Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, Let them dwell in the land of Goshen, and if you know of capable men among them, make them overseers of my cattle. Thus Jacob and his sons came to Egypt, and Pharaoh king of Egypt heard about it. So Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Have your father and brothers dwell in the best of the land. Then Joseph brought in his father Jacob and set him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Jacob, How old are you? Jacob said to Pharaoh, The days of the years of my sojourn are 130 years. Few and evil have they been, but they have not attained to the days and years of my father's sojourn in life. So Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from before him. Then Joseph settled his father and brothers and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh commanded. Then Joseph provided his father, his brothers, and all his father's household with bread, according to the number of individual persons. Now there was no food in all the land, for the famine was very severe, and both the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan were devastated by the famine. So Joseph gathered up all the money found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, for the grain they bought, and for the grain they bought, and all he doled out to them. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. Thus, when the money ran out in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For our money has run out. Then Joseph said, Bring your cattle, and I will give you bread for them, if your money has run out. So they brought their cattle to Joseph, and he gave them bread in exchange for their horses, sheep, oxen, and donkeys. Thus he fed them with bread that year in exchange for all their cattle. When that year ended, they came to him the next year and said to him, We will not hide from my lord that our money has run out, and my lord also has our possessions and cattle. There is nothing left in the sight of my lord but our bodies and our lands. Why should we die, therefore, before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants of Pharaoh. Give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land may not be desolate. So Joseph bought all the land of the Egyptians for Pharaoh. For every man of the Egyptians sold his land to Pharaoh, because the famine was severe upon them. Thus the land became Pharaoh's. Now, as for the people, he moved them into the cities from one end of the borders of Egypt to the other. Only the land of the priests he did not buy. For the priests had rations allotted to them by Pharaoh, and they ate their rations Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell their land. Then Joseph said to all the Egyptians, Indeed, I have bought you and your land this day for Pharaoh. Look, here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land. Then it shall come to pass in the harvest that you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh. 4/5 shall be your own as seed for the field and for your food, for those of your households. So they said, You have saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. Then Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt to this day, that Pharaoh should have 1/5, except for the land of the priests only, which did not become Pharaoh's. So Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the land of Goshen, and they acquired possessions there, and increased and multiplied exceedingly. Now Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. Thus, when the time drew near for Jacob to die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, If I have found grace in your sight, put your hand under my thigh and deal with me in mercy and truth. Do not bury me in Egypt, but let me lie with my fathers. You shall carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place. So he said, I will do as you say. Then he said, Swear to me. And he swore to him. So Israel bowed himself on the top of his staff.